Alrighty, everybody, welcome to a long overdue episode of the NerdCorp Podcast. This is your one and only source for all things nerdy, whether it be comic books, video games, TV, whatever it is, whatever it is you need, we got your back. As always, I'm your host, Matt Hedrick. Here with me, exhausted beyond belief, is Chad Porto. I would ask how it's going, but I think I just described it.
Pew pew. Pew 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 pew.
Mm.
That's how it's going. Yeah.
Pew,
So,
pew, pew.
pew,
Oh, no.
pew,
Let
pew,
me think
pew.
of that song.
pew pew pew. So, some stuff to talk about this week. We'll get to the news here in a bit. Well, I have the energy. I got a new game, and I found a new YouTube channel.
Nice.
Maybe you've known about the channel. I don't think so. By the way, I watched Slope's Game Room. He did a Castlevania thing.
Yeah.
I never wanted to punt my computer as hard as I did while watching him. It's just something about him. I don't know what it is.
Is it like is his accent, the way he presents it? Like,
No, I
what?
think it's because like he has that like open concept kind of like structure that he sits between. But he's
Okay.
like seated kind of like a doofus where he's like slightly on the chair, but his legs are spread open and he's like hunched over, but he's also standing up. Like it's so awkward to look at. And I'm just sitting there going, God, I don't like you. It's not logical. It doesn't make any fucking sense, but I'm just sitting there going,
No.
why are you sitting like that? Like, why are you presenting like a peacock? What are you doing?
I can't. Dude, I can't lie to you. I can't lie to you though. It's always those little things for me sometimes too that like will totally throw me off for content.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
So, tell me if you've watched this channel before. It's called Classic Gaming Quarterly.
I've heard of it, but I have not watched it though.
I love it. Like it. So he does a bunch of things. The thing he does most of is he reviews old gaming magazines. I haven't watched one of those yet. I have no idea how those are. But he's also done some look backs at system launches and games that were out via launch date. So I caught up on the TurboGrafx 16. Maybe the most slept on console, I think, of all time. Honestly.
There's
Like,
definitely some cool games on there for
right?
sure.
And like they use like a credit card. Like that's dope. Like everyone else is doing CDs and cartridges, and like, no, we're doing a fucking card. Like, come at us, bitch.
That's some badass shit, isn't it?
Right? I appreciate that. I checked out the Sega Saturn or Sega CD. I fuck Sega, man. Sega Saturn and Sega CD is the same goddamn console, but they're not. Their discs don't read the other one. How stupid are you? Oh my god.
Not to mention the setup and release of both were both fucking nightmares.
And it's like, you know, if you're like, well, yeah, the Sega Saturn is its own standalone console, and the Sega CD is an add-on. Who the fuck cares? They came out like 6 weeks apart. Ugh. Anyway, so he did one of that. He did a Sega launch, the Sega Genesis launch. He did Super Nintendo launch, and I think he did N64 launch and PlayStation launch, maybe. So like, that's pretty cool. And the real slick thing was seeing like what games were available. And like sometimes like he was into like detail, like, oh yeah, this is what I would have gotten. And, you know, this is buy, long rental, you know, skip kind of categories for the games. And then he also talks about the processing power, and like that's where he loses me. But I'm not a tech guy, so like I don't care. But it's not like a bad. It's not like he's not good at what he's doing. It's just like that 2-minute part of the 20+ minute video is like where I'm just like.
It just kind of throws you out because it's not like something you're directly
Right.
associated or attached to it.
Right.
Really.
It's like,
Yeah, I
oh,
get it.
cool. You're talking about a graphics card, or you're talking about a sound chip. I don't give a fuck. I'm here to see what kind of games were out for this.
The only thing that I will ever have that appeal to me with is if a certain game at some point required a certain type of like something to run it. Like because the Super Nintendo had a lot of that, you know. Like certain games could only run based on what they built inside of it. If you tried to make that on its own, it wouldn't run. So stuff like that.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been watching a lot of that. That dude's pretty slick. Definitely into that. I guess we could have saved that for the end of the show. I completely forgot how we format this shit.
That's okay. That's okay. If you're excited about something, share it, man. Like honestly, like
so. Told you, and I'll repeat it publicly so that I'm held to a standard. Okay. I'm finally going in on Switch.
You were telling me about some games you were thinking of.
Yes.
So what were you gonna go? Where were you thinking of?
Well, before I get to that, here's my rationale.
Gotcha.
The PS5 is going to be a disaster for the next year, as all launch consoles are. Like, I've never bought a console the year it came out. You'd be an idiot to do so. So I got at least till 2022. Yeah, that sounds about right. To kind of figure out what I want to do with the PS5. They're going to still make games for the PS4. So, like, I'm not really like, oh, no, what are you going to do? You're going to cancel? Like, they're still making PS2 games up until, like, 2014. Like, we're fine. Granted, it was soccer games, but still.
Well, NCAA football, but I get your point. There's those two. But
No. I'm being serious. Like, there was a soccer game that was, like, still being made into, like, 2015 for the PS2.
Dude, Just Dance was being made for the Wii until, like, just this year.
There you go. See? That's what's up. So... Like I'm in no rush to get that, there's a part of me that wants to get into Nintendo again because it's like, it's kind of like Disney. You know, you're never too old or too young for Nintendo, even if they are a bunch of racist fucks.
Yeah, but their games compared to anything else, when you're looking towards Microsoft or Sony. They're the ones that always consistently hold up with IP, as far as I'm concerned.
And that was kind of one of the points that I was about to bring up was that Nintendo games, save for the N64, like, fucking those games are trash. But save for the N64, Nintendo games hold up well. They have a very high threshold for getting prime A, triple A, quad A, whatever the fuck we're calling it these days, type of games onto their console. Like, they always usually hold up pretty well long term. You can't say that about Microsoft or PlayStation.
No, their stuff is always seems just in the moment. You know?
That's
for whatever they're making.
I mean, point of emphasis, fucking Wind Waker, right? Was that the game called? The fucking shell shading goofy ass character designs.
That's like the mainline one for the GameCube, yeah.
So like that one came out and everyone's like, oh, it looks like baby graphics. And then like Twilight Princess came out, like, oh my god, look how good the graphics are. And now here we are 20 years later. Twilight Princess looks like garbage because they tried to go with modern graphics and now it's no longer a modern game. It's now a retro game. And it's not terrible looking, but you're not going to sit there and look at that game and be like, oh, yeah, that could totally still run on a PS5. No, it couldn't. But then you look at Wind Waker.
Wind Waker at least holds up to a degree. Yeah, I was going to say.
Because they went with a specific design choice and a specific animation choice. So, like, it's always going to hold up. Because, like, it's transferable. So that's kind of where I think Nintendo has the edge. Is like, they generally do more stuff like that with, like, Wind Waker. So, games I'm looking at, Luigi's Mansion. I hope to find some type of bundle with that, although I doubt I'm going to, because that seems like a really obscure game to bundle.
Yeah, the only time that would have ever, if it ever would have happened, would have been around Halloween to try to capture that theme, but even then.
Well, I figured, they're doing Mario Kart, like, just give me fucking Luigi, man. So there's that. I'm looking at Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl. Probably add Streets of Rage to that as well.
Nice.
Scott Pilgrim. Definitely gonna probably pick that up once I get mine. And then there's one more. I can't remember what it was though.
Well, you were thinking of something Zelda related, right?
Yeah, well, that's only because it's an easy go-to. You know, like you really can't fuck up an interest in Zelda.
Well, now, what particular route would you want to go? Because you got two options. You got Breath of the Wild or the Link's Awakening remake.
Might go with both, depending on how much it costs.
I mean, you do have dabbed in open worlds though, so it's not like totally foreign to you or anything. You know. I just don't. Do you prefer anyone over the other? Like, do you prefer like the dungeon structure kind of idea of Link's Awakening, maybe? Or
well, I mean, that's the games I grew up on in the Zelda franchise is the dungeon structure. But I also like the open world exploration bullshit. So, like, you know, I don't know, both, maybe, neither. Yes.
If you got it, would you go? If you got Breath of the Wild, would you go straight to Ganon?
Probably.
Just for the hell of it?
Just for the hell of it? Just see if I could. Like, fuck off. Let's do this. What are you doing, bitch? Be let's go. Throw down, motherfucker. Who do you think?
And then when you get shot back.
Who do you think you're stunting on, bitch? I mean, that's what I did in Ocarina of Time. I just went straight to the fucking castle, but, you know, and difference is I couldn't actually access it because it's like fucking swirly bullshit. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, fuck off.
Yeah, that shit'll throw you off for sure. Now I know you're not a big Mario person, but I know that you can like get the Pro controller and a copy of Mario Odyssey, I think, for like $80 or something like that. So,
well,
I know you're just not a fan of the games though. So
I definitely want to get the slidey stuff on the edges. I don't want to get the fucking discounted Game Boy. Like, I want the docking port, and I want to be able to take the little slide things off and put the little things into the controller so I can play it wherever I'm at. I'm really looking forward to gaming and taking a bath at the same time. I think that'd be a new experience.
Well, if you're gonna play it like out of the dock a lot, I would recommend I bought this like grip for it, you know. That kind of like you can rest your hands on it and kind of makes it feel more like an actual controller than like, you know, trying to grip a tablet. It's a little more comfortable for long gameplay sessions, and it's only like $20 or something.
That's what I'm thinking. So I'm seeing them for $300. So,
and you're diving in at the perfect time too, because you're getting those ones are the ones with the better battery life compared to the launch model.
See?
Yeah. I think it's like I want to say it's double, but I know it's at least like 5 hours of battery life you can get undocked. So
double toil and trouble. Fire brewing. Luigi's in trouble.
See, I was thinking of the same thing of what you were doing. You said because I got my buddy for being awesome or whatever. I was thinking of the same thing of what to do with the money for myself.
Giving it to me was a great idea.
I'm
glad that you picked that.
You're dreaming, obviously, so it's time to wake up. But
oh, please. If I was dreaming, I'd be happy.
See, I was thinking of the same exact thing as you, but like on the opposite spectrum. Like, you know, you were talking about how you don't want a PS5 or anything right now. You know? I was thinking of that, but I'm like, one, you can't get them, and two, even if I was able to get them right now, everything I would want to play either hasn't come out yet, or I can still play it somewhere else right now. So like, the one I really want to play, the one I'm holding out for is Ratchet and Clank. That's the one I really want to see come out. But past that, the only real exclusive is what? Demon's Souls. So, not my kind of game. So I just might as well wait and. Dude, Halo Infinite's not going to come out on Xbox for like the next 2-3 fucking years anyway.
Well, you can always put it in the Bank of Chad. Let it depreciate in value.
That's just like a slot, like at your front door.
So there's a WCW used to have a magazine, and every month they would like ask people like in the wrestling company questions. You know, like who's your idol, or if you could have dinner with. So one month, I think it was for the September or October issue, because they were covering stuff from August. So like that's kind of how it worked. They're like, who's your favorite charity? And like, you know, everyone's like UNICEF or like, you know, the Boys and Girls Club of America. Fucking Dean Malenko's like the Dean Malenko Pocket Fund. And I'm like, yeah, it's my favorite charity too. I mean, not his, but mine. The Chad Porter Pocket Fund.
Oh, your selflessness, it just knows no bounds.
Well, I already do enough community service with you, so like, how much more do I need to give?
Do you want a Purple Heart or something? What the fuck?
Fuck. I mean, Trump's giving out those fucking medals of valor with like no fucking criteria needed. So like, can I get one of them? just throw one at me as you're taking off to Mar-a-Lago. Just throw it at my house. You don't even need to do a ceremony. I just want to buckle it onto my nipple.
So to reward yourself, you're gonna put yourself in pain? That doesn't sound good.
Well, I mean, people would be like, you know, hey, what are you doing? And I'll just like flash my nipple, be like, I'm a Medal of Valor, bitch. What are you? Fucking jackass.
Delightful.
So let's talk about some news stories.
Okay.
Oh wait, the game. Skyline, I think is what it's called. City Lines, City Skies, Sky Cities.
City Skyline, you mean?
Maybe.
Okay. Okay. I think I know about this. Is it like on the same level as like a Sim City type of game?
Yes, and that's exactly why I bought it. I was watching someone do something with SimCity, and I was like, I want to play that game, but I don't want to play it on my computer. So I'm gonna buy it. So I went on PS5 and be like, all right, what do you got? Sim me, bitch. And they're like, do you want to play SimCity? I'm like, yes, I do. So you want to play Sims 3? I'm like, no, I don't. And then they're like, so
I want to play a good game.
so like Sims 5? I'm like, no. Sims 5 expansion where they go to Abu Dhabi. No, I finally got rid of normal. I don't want to go to Abu Dhabi. That's a deep cut
Nice.
Garfield reference right there.
I love it. I love it.
So like, you know, they're like, well, there's City Skylines. I'm like, oh, cool. All right, it's $7. Hell yeah, that is exactly in Chad's wheelhouse of things that he's willing to spend money on. And then I bought it and downloaded it overnight and got up the morning and started playing. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so cool. I can't wait to. Oh wait, apparently I only bought half the game.
Oh shit. Oh, it's one of those. Oh
Yeah.
man.
But I'm also like, well, fuck you. You think I'm going to buy the rest of you, motherfucker?
That
I am
half-finished bullshit. Ugh.
Listen, I don't want to say I'm a spiteful man, but I am a determined man, and I will play something just to prove a point. So I'm still getting the hang of it. I've restarted like 6 times. My hope is to build like an actual like sprawling city metropolis and suburb and whatnot. But the thing I've been finding out is it's not very it's not very accurate. I built a small little suburb, maybe 200 houses. And they're like, we're getting burglarized and so many people are sick. I'm like, I put a hospital, a clinic, a fire department, and a police station. Y'all are fine. Like, that's more than enough emergency services for 200 fucking houses. Apparently not. And I'm like, you're ruining my plans.
That reminds me of like when you remember the caddy video when he had the theme park?
Yes, and he kept killing people.
He built the toilets, and nobody went to the toilet. It's like on the same level. Like, dude, why the fuck are you not going to the toilet?
Basically. So like I'm still getting the hang of it, and a lot of it has to do with like flow, traffic, and layouts. So like there's a lot to learn. And here's my whole shtick. I'm a kinesthetic learner, which means you can put a fucking instruction manual in front of me all day long, and I'm just gonna be like, I'ma do it. I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna take it apart. I'm gonna put it back together. I'm gonna ask you to do it for me because I broke it and then I put it back together incorrectly. And now it don't work. And then I'm gonna do it again until I fucking know everything, single fucking inch of this thing. So like, it's gonna take me some time, but like, I think it's gonna be awesome.
I don't know. I haven't heard you really talk about like simulation type of like games and stuff like that before. Like,
Really?
have you played any like other ones? No, like in depth, like too many. Like I hear them from time to time, but not like super in depth.
All the games I play are simulation.
Every last one of them, really?
Basically, like every sports game is simulation.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe
maybe I should rephrase that. Stuff like this on a SimCity level is what I should say.
Well, maybe you don't realize my, when I was like 13, I had a real bad Age of Empires addiction. Yeah, I like building shit and then waging war to destroy other people's shit. There's no waging war option in this, but
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Well, you just like seeing people die, so that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've always kind of had this fascination with building things, and since I'm not very artistic with my drawing ability, like this is my outlet. Like, really, what I want to do is just be able to like draw shit, and then like none of this shit will ever matter to me again, because I'll be able to bring whatever I think and see to life. But my brain don't work like that. Like you be like,
it makes me wonder if like this stuff have like are these like raw what?
No, like my brain would be like, draw a face, and I'll be like, yeah, I did it, and then my brain would be like, motherfucker, that's a dog, or some squiggly lines.
How much time have you like gotten out of it so far?
A couple hours.
Okay.
What were you?
It makes me think like there's
yeah.
I was just about to say like it makes me think when you're talking about like you only got part of the game, it makes me think like maybe it's like an expansion for like different types of cities maybe.
There are different cities, different landscapes. Like you could like build in the prairie, and there's like scenarios. So like that was that's always stuff.
I played one like it recently. It was Sega made it. It was called like 2 Point Hospital or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it as like a giveaway or something. But it's like $15 or $20 if you ever have interest in it. You're just consistently running a series of hospitals, and like anything that can go wrong will go wrong basically. And it's kind of this goofy animated type of stuff. So everything is like very much a silly interpretation of anything you could expect from a hospital, which I find definitely entertaining considering I used to love like messing around Roller Coaster Tycoon, like I said. So it's on that level. But if it ever goes like cheap, like around that price range that you got for cities, I'd say check that out too. It'd probably be fun.
Maybe. Seems interesting. So let's do the news. We got the first fucking Mortal Kombat stuff. It's coming. It's coming in April to HBO Max.
Oh yay!
Right alongside fucking Space Jam. Time to get up, it's time to slam now. This guy's going on sound now. Welcome to Space Jam. I'm gonna hate this new movie.
Did you even like the old original movie at all?
I like the parts that Michael Jordan wasn't sucking in. I'm a Looney Tunes guy, so like.
I think what at least helped that movie work is the fact that he wasn't trying to be an actor,
Mm-hmm.
And I hope LeBron does the same thing. He doesn't try to like be funny or different in certain things, like try to be essentially what is exactly what made the original work. don't go too far with it. Honestly, please.
I have strong concerns for why he's making the movie, and I don't think it's gonna be very good. Although I'm gonna rep anything Bugs Bunny's in, so like, I'll see it because Bugs is my dude, but I have zero faith in this film. Speaking of films, though, Mortal Kombat 16th, HBO Max. They're clearly not following any story that I'm aware of, because they have fucking Jax and Kano doesn't have his metal face, and that's the dude from The Strain, and you got some Kumite bullshit going on, and Sonya's dry humping Kano in the desert. I mean, all right, that's fine. I can vibe with that. Fucking Kung Lao's already in this bitch, and Liu Kang's all like, fire hands. Wow, look at my fire hands.
If we get some scenes with the two of them together and relive some Shaolin monk shit, I'm down.
We know we're getting scenes with the two of them because there's a fucking still image of the two of them doing scenes together.
Well, I hope it lasts longer than just like one scene or something. Like, I hope it's more.
Well, it's at least long enough to do a pose, so like that's something.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this is gonna be like. I'm optimistic.
Do you have any faith in?
Yeah, I'm optimistic because like the little Machinima TV show is pretty slick. You ever see that?
No. The last thing I watched was the animated movie that they did, The Scorpion's Revenge or whatever. That's the last thing I've seen.
Well, it was Jerry Ryan
right.
and it was Jerry Ryan and oh god, what the fuck is his name? Spawn.
Michael Jai
White. Yeah, I think it was Michael Jai White. And they were Sonya and Jax, and like Baraka was some dude who like augmented his face and like instilled like metal shit into his arms, and he wasn't like some outland demon bullshit. Like Katana was like some like underground fight club queen that they're trying to investigate. Like, it was definitely a different take on it, but I didn't hate it.
I think that's actually on DVD. I have to check that out.
Well, that's a different one. Because then they changed it completely.
Is that different? Okay.
Yeah, they did a short, and then they did a series.
Okay. So what I'm thinking about is the series then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Machinima. There's Mortal Kombat Legacy, and that's the one that's the one that came out with the DVD, I believe. Okay. Because that was the one that had the really cool backstory between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And this one didn't have Jerry Ryan in it. Let's see. Sonya. Oh, no. It was Jerry Ryan. Jax. I think these are somewhat loosely related, I guess. Hang on. Let me double check this.
Okay.
Mock introduction of the Electric Playground. In the present day, Johnny is pitching a new crime reality. Both unimpressed. 3 weeks later, Johnny has reshot a mature trailer for You Got Caged. Leaves the meeting, overhearing the executives, the female star, saying Sean approaches. Okay, I'm starting to think that there was 2 different things. Let me see real fast.
So you think like the short could have been called something else then, maybe?
Yeah, the short I think was called Mortal Kombat Rebirth. It was a short film. A former movie star that became an undercover agent after his Hollywood career died. In a short flashback, he's killed by Baraka. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so the Machinima one was Mortal Kombat Legacy. And then the short, which I saw in Machinima, but I guess wasn't Machinima related, was Mortal Kombat Rebirth. Mortal Kombat Rebirth tried to make it more like regular, and not like, Outland and blah, 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 blah. Like Reptile is a mass murderer with a genetic disorder, and Sing Shun's just a dude who's been in a photograph, and Barak is a plastic surgeon who went on to kill a bunch of people after augmenting himself. So, like, it's very much like blah, but it's fine. Like, it's not bad, but it's not the story you know. But then Mortal Kombat's legacy is the story, yeah.
Okay.
And Casper Van Dien's in it. It's Johnny Cage.
Because Rebirth makes it sound like it's more like a grounded in reality type idea, in a sense.
Yes, it is. They're weird people, but they're still people. But Legacy is very much the movie. Casper Van Dien. Do you even know who Casper Van Dien is? Am I spinning my wheels on this one? Casper Van Dien.
I am not familiar. No.
You ever see Starship Troopers?
I have.
He is Rico.
Okay.
Main character, Casper Van Dien.
Okay,
they also brought in Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa in season 2 to play Sing Shun. So I don't think I've seen season 2 because I'm like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, this is the thing I may need to catch up on.
I'm always here and there with video game movies. Honestly, like,
yeah.
I hear Mortal Kombat and I'm excited to a degree, but I'm like,
Sonic was good.
I don't know how it's gonna. I know it's gonna live. Sonic was. So I always hope we get, a consistent trend at some point. And if this is, as good as it's looking to be, then I'm down for it. I'm down for some crazy fucking action in a movie and based off a video game. I'm not the biggest fan of the series, but anything video game related, I'll go see it.
So Nintendo has acquired Next Level, who created Luigi's Mansion 3.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't do it sooner, honestly.
Well,
because they've been partnering with them for games for years. Like, all of them Mario related, but it's kind of surprising.
It's expected to be completed on March 1st. And yeah, so that's the thing. I like the Spooky Ookies, so I'm looking forward to making Luigi scream like a little bitch.
I think the other things they made were like, I know there was 2 Mario sports, like soccer related games they made, and I want to say they made the Wii version of Punch Out, like the updated version of that. So I'm hoping they maybe do another maybe another version of those, or maybe see what other franchises they can take and make their own interpretation, because they did a great job with Luigi's Mansion 3. Man, that game is fucking solid.
The only issue I had with the first one, I haven't played the second one. The only issue I had with the first one was it's like the spinning of the joystick. Like, it was like almost incessant.
You talking about like the C stick to like grab the enemies or something?
Yeah, like you had to like rotate it really fast, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that nub is not ideal for like grabbing enemies and stuff. It's never.
Well, I'd rather do a quick time event than have to like button mash or whirl something around. You know what I mean? Like, give me a combo I got to keep up with. Don't make me murder my fingers. That's like the one thing I hated about Metal Gear Solid was the fucking electric torture chamber part of the game. Like, I shouldn't have to put the controller down and go like, come on.
I feel that same way with like vertical shooters or like side scroll, any type of shooter game in general that makes you like rapidly press the button, like even like Mega Man.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer just holding the button and you get a constant stream of shots. Like, I'm tired of getting like a cramp in my hand every time I play those games.
Yeah. Speaking of cramps, Lucasfilm will end its Star Wars exclusivity with EA by partnering with Ubisoft on a new open world game. And that's kind of like a lateral step.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like an ideal move, right? Like
you can
from one bad entity to another, really.
You can release all the fancy photos that you want, but like, bitch, I know who your developer is. That's like, it's like fucking, you're about to go out with someone and then you realize who their parents are. Like, no, like you don't care who she is anymore. Because you know her parents, you know her brothers, you know her family. They're the rednecks with the cars on their front lawn in a formation that looks like Carcest. And you're like, no, like I don't want anything to do with you, hillbilly fucks. Like you can have all the pretty fucking photos of Coruscant and starship battles and shit. But I know who your parents are. Ubisoft.
And I know who this company is that's making this game too, and they made the Division games, and I've played both of those, and I'm going to tell you right now, if it's anything like that, get ready for some immense amount of boredom. Seriously.
And lagging and terrible bullshit and all the other good stuff. Bethesda's Machine
Useless
Games working on an Indiana Jones game. So they're basically making their own version of Uncharted.
It's weird too because this is the Wolfenstein developers doing it, which I wasn't expecting them to like take on that role for a game like that. It'll be interesting to see because all I've seen them do so far is just like intense action, like first person shooters. So seeing the thing I'm wondering is, are they going to go straight first person with it, or will they go third person? Is what I'm wondering.
Well, I'm looking at the screenshot that they posted on their article, and it's of some type of 2D Indiana Jones Game Boy looking game. And if they do something like this, like, all right, this is 1992's Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, and it's apparently a classic. Like, that would be slick, like a point and click game, but they're probably gonna do a third person fucking bullshit, fucking Lara Croft, Uncharted nonsense. So we'll see.
I'd be totally down for some like find ancient artifacts, point and click adventure shit, dude. I'm totally down for that stuff. Come on.
Capcom confirmed the personal data breach is worse than first thought. Well,
oh boy, is it worse.
390,000 people. I'm
compared to 40. Oh,
well,
shit.
like I don't know, like I bought fucking Resident Evil 2. Like, did they get me?
They very well might have. The original reason I believe for the breach was I think whoever was doing it wanted Capcom to release all of their like info about their games. Like all when the next set of games were coming out or something like that. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. We don't give in to people like that. And they just kept releasing shit from Capcom. And it ended up turning out to be a lot worse. And I never liked personal breaches of, data. It happened on PlayStation 3 or whatever, and that was a fucking nightmare.
Let's see. It's first reported by the media in November. The Resident Evil publisher was targeted by the Ragnar Locker hacker group. Capcom sent a message earlier the same month demanding money in exchange for the data stolen from its servers. At the time, media claimed that over 1 terabyte of data had been stolen during the hack, and that the hacker group was demanding 11 million in Bitcoin for return of the files. If no deal was made, then the data would be published or sold, a report by Bleeding Computers claimed. So, this is why you need to not have the internet with games anymore. I'm just throwing that one out there. Like, I would straight up be like, y'all need to get some air gap computers. We will not be having any type of linked up systems. If you need to transfer data to another computer, you need to buy a external hard drive and stop being a giant pansy. So, but then again, I'm intelligent.
Memory cards are awesome,
right? Speaking of intelligent people are still trying to buy the PS5 because I guess you gotta keep up with the Joneses. Keeping up with the Joneses. Black PS5 sales end in disaster as all orders canceled due to staff threats.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not even gonna read the story. This is just fucking stupid.
It's
Goddamn.
I did like the design of it, harkening back to the PS2. The idea of it, it does look pretty cool and everything, but there were things that came into question for me. Not so much about the story, but like how about how they got him. You know what I mean? Because like with all of the sales going on and stuff like that, now you're not able to acquire them. This makes me think that this was one of those groups that, you know, is one of those scalpers type of people, took those systems and just repurposed them and trying to sell them, making people bank off of their nostalgia. That's what it makes me think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I didn't trust anything like this. And they're like, we're receiving death threats and stuff like that. I'm like, no, you willingly took 300 systems from people who could have had them, and you tried to bank on it for them. And I don't know, man. I'm not really buying your story as much as you want to try to convince me. I'm not buying it.
Well, let's see. A large number of black PS5 consoles started appearing on reseller sites like eBay, with users asking for thousands of dollars, though Super 5 said it would cancel them. Soup 3R5 insisted it would refund those who had been incorrectly charged and pledged to do better with its international launch, which it delayed from Saturday to later in the month. However, just after the message, the company announced that it was canceling all orders and issuing refunds due to its team allegedly receiving credible threats to their safety. Last night, our team began receiving credible threats to their safety. It added all existing orders will be canceled. We intended this to be a fun way. As it turns out, there are people out there who are willing to interfere with that. If we determine that it's safe to try again, we will. For now, please stay safe. The news was predictable, met with frustration by those who had managed to purchase a console, with many customers accusing Super R35 of scam tactics. However, there's no evidence of foul play. Currently, Sony has not commented to releasing different colors of PS5 consoles or customization options, though some other third-party companies have promised their own solutions. Canadian peripheral firm D-Brand recently announced it would soon be taking orders for a range of black PS5 faceplates and dismissed suggestions Sony could stop it. D-Brand's product launch follows a high-profile case in the UK, which saw one company cancel its plans to create custom PS5 faceplates after Sony allegedly threatened legal action. Asked by a Reddit user if it feared similar legal action over its faceplates, D-Brand dismissed the notions, writing, "We encourage them to try." A caption on its Reddit post also reads, "Sue us, Sony." So, you know, I don't like big corporations. I'm not a big money, big capital guy. Like Republicans and the big Wall Streets, and not a fan. But I'm a big fan of stupid people getting stupid prizes for playing stupid games. If you're going to sit here and doctor someone else's work, modify it, change it, and then be like, what are you going to fucking do about it? And I got an army of lawyers like Capcom does, I'm going to be like, well, bitch. So, you know, kind of like, if you don't want to get sued, don't dare me to sue you. Because I will. So I'm really
how
hoping
stupid do you have to
Sony-
be to say that, right?
Right, I'm really hoping Sony just goes, well, they literally asked for it. And then I'm going to show them exactly what it's like to have to deal with a billion-dollar company, because I'm going to just send in 100 different lawyers every other day to file, refile, change, and just keep jacking up your fucking fees. I can afford to pay off the hundreds of lawyers that I'm going to send at you. Can you? I doubt it. Because if you could, you wouldn't be stealing someone else's designs to make your shit. You would have your own console. So, you know, this is how, as Rob Thomas once said, this is how a heart breaks.
I love it. Oh, I love it.
That's a good song.
But no, I'm feeling you on this because, especially with Nintendo, like if anybody has been knowledgeable of their history in the past with protection of their IPs, you would definitely not say the shit you're saying to some company like Sony, because Nintendo has thrown down the hammer and sued numerous companies and made numerous people take all their stuff down for the same reasons. So yeah, go ahead and try, but I think
It's not gonna go your way, homie. So let's end on a more positive note. We got fucking consoles, video game stuff things. I know words.
I'm thinking you're leaning towards the arcade cabinets,
or maybe go fuck yourself for correcting me. So there's what, 6? That's what it looks like.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there are 6. You got.
Don't you have one of these? It's the
X-
Turtles one, right?
I have Turtles and I have the Rampage one, the Midway one.
But they're from
I'm thinking
arcade.
of trading one out.
They're from Arcade 1-Up, though?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes.
So which one are you looking to get rid of? Oh, why am I asking? You're going to get rid of the Rampage one. Duh.
Yeah.
So how much do these cost?
They run about. I know the Turtles one cost about $350.
Yikes.
So yeah, not ideal. This is one of those very much. What's the term that people use for it? Like luxury product. I think that's the correct term.
I don't know if it's correct, but it works. A luxury item.
Yeah.
So some of these definitely like the X-Men one looks legit. X-Men, Captain America, and the Avengers. I assume that's the one where you can play as Vision as White Vision, and you can shoot lasers from your belly button, because that was weird. I would definitely not get the Dragon Slayer game, because the Dragon Slayer game is terrible. It's like, fuck that noise. Definitely not gonna get the Atari bullshit. Maybe the Street Fighter one, because it comes with like a shitload of games. Darkstalkers among them. I didn't even realize that. Ghosts and Goblins. You have. Why do you need one? Well, you have your OG Street Fighter. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Street Fighter 2s, and Striders. Like, I guess that's good bang for your buck. Then you got Bandai Namco and the Pong 4-player pub table. That actually looks pretty slick. It's $550. Fuck that noise. You're playing You're playing table tennis. Like I could buy a table tennis top for half that. And that'll work if there's a power outage.
There you go, right?
Oh my God. Like, Jesus. I'm just saying.
If I had to pick though, I'm torn between the Killer Instinct and the X-Men one, honestly. Because I love the Battletoads arcade, and Killer Instinct's always going to be a classic, fighter to me. Yeah. And I think they include Double Dragon in it too. To my knowledge, that's 3 are supposed to be on there. But
Battletoads, Double Dragon, Killer Instinct, and Killer Instinct 2.
All right, yeah, that one's definitely appealing to me. But I think X-Men is the more iconic one to me. And the only thing that I understand why they did it. But if I remember right, the X-Men had 6 players.
Right? Yes.
Okay, and I just don't think there is a way to make that happen now. That you could just mass market sell that. That would be awkward.
Yeah, this comes with 3 players. That's some bullshit. So definitely that, or the Street Fighter 2 cabinet. That's what I would do. So.
If you do get them, they do have online multiplayer, by the way. You can actually go against other people online with these. So
why would I want to?
I'm not saying you would. I'm just saying it was strange that they even included it in the NBA Jam one for some reason. I'm like, why are you doing this when the appeal of the idea of this is the local aspect? I just don't get why they do it.
What you been watching on the YouTube, Matt?
Let's dive in. Okay, so this has been over the past couple of weeks, so I got quite a few of them from certain people. But I'll start with Amanda the Jedi. She had a bunch of different videos that I was into this past couple of weeks. probably ones I identified with the most were We Can Be Heroes, because I actually watched that movie with my son, and I totally feel the same way she did about the whole thing. I felt like a lot of that movie was too convenient, honestly. And Soul, I've been wanting. I was tentative on watching that video from her because I wanted to see the movie, and I know she breaks down everything, but I couldn't help myself, honestly. But yeah, it just makes me want to watch it more because it's to me it seems like on the same level as like what Inside Out was for me with Pixar stuff, and I really that's if it's gonna do something that well, I want to check it out. Um, let's see, SNES Drunk did quite a few videos. I actually played one of the games he recommended. I bought it because it was super cheap. It was Wizard Fire. I gotta admit, not a fan after I bought it, but it was only like $3, so that's okay. Had that weird isometric angle, you know what I mean, for an arcade beat 'em up thing, and I wasn't feeling the hit detection on that. It was way off, and the game's very spam heavy with attacks, and it after a while I just wasn't into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he also did was it Lock On was another one, Kung Fu Heroes, Taekwondo, and one I wasn't aware of. And I've been on this handheld kick as of late for playing games.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned Saber Wolf
Mm-hmm.
from Rare, and I'm like I gotta find this thing, man, because this seems like if nothing else, this is something my kid and I could both play together. So it just seems like a basic platformer with some cool ideas inside. So
If
definitely check that out for sure.
if they make Taekwondo in with an English patch, oh, I'm in because that looks so good.
It does. It looks like a really cool little fighter, you know, like I love the ideas in that too, you know. It's definitely different than what you see from most fighters,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I really hope there's always hope for that too, because games get patched all the time. You know, there's like Sega Saturn imports I know that have gotten English patches, so people can like play complete versions now. So there's always hope out there. Um, Probably one of my favorite ones, even though I'm tired of the game itself. One of my favorite YouTubers out there, Beat 'em Ups, did a video covering all of the different issues he had with Cyberpunk 2077. And at the end of it, he actually broke out into a music video. And he parodied, was it Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire? And
There you
just
go.
through all of the different glitches that were in that game. And I'm like, okay, if at least you're gonna talk about the game, that's the way to do it. You know, at least have
Mm-hmm.
some fun. Let's see. If you're into the soundtracks of games and stuff like that, I recommend checking out the Game Civilization. He does like guitar covers and stuff of certain games.
Mm-hmm.
He just did a cover of the Snake Man stage from Mega Man 3. That was solid. I actually did check out a new YouTube channel just like you recently. He's kind of on the same level as SNES Drunk, but he's a little more elaborate with what he does. It's Friday Night Arcade. His topics I find a little bit interesting. They go back a little bit further than SNES Drunks though. He goes back into like Atari and stuff like that. He actually did a feature on open world NES games I found interesting. And Nightshade is it blew my mind how like much is in that game for an NES game, and that there are actually Atari 2600 games with endings in them. That surprised me. Um, just like you, I did also watch the Slopes Game Room Castlevania Complete History, and the sheer fact alone that there's going to be 2 parts to this drives me nuts, man. It's like a marathon of shit, but it was still good for what it was to me. I know you're not a fan of them, but I liked it. Um, I know you don't subscribe to him anymore, but James on Cinemassacre did a video of his favorite comedies. I found that to be interesting. A lot of them only a few of them I've identified with though. He tends to go back a little bit further than me, and I know some of them, but the only one that really stuck out was Christmas Vacation. That's the one I probably was the biggest fan of. Um, Matt McMuscles did a lot of what happens and stuff like that this week, but nothing really stuck out other than I wasn't even aware that a certain game existed until now, which was Disaster Day of Crisis. It was supposedly a Wii title that came out,
Mm-hmm.
supposed to come out at launch or something like that, and it never got a full release. And I looked at it, man, and I'm like, I really wish it did, because that seems like something so up my alley. But past that, no, not much in the YouTubes over the past couple weeks. I try to keep these limited for you now instead of having a big list. I try to just keep like my top 10. That way, I'm just in and out done. You know.
Appreciate that. I think they did a bunch of Let's Plays of Disaster Day of Crisis when they were doing Super Best Friends. Because like the first level is like a forest fire, I think. And like they're running around like a cliff or some bullshit like that. So yeah, I'm not surprised that he covered it because that was kind of one of his favorite go-to games. Let's see. I've only really been watching a few things. At least a few things I think are notable. The one is I fucking had it somewhere. One of them is John Dobbs Only in Japan live stream videos. He apparently has two channels. One's a live stream and one's where he's doing short form, edited format kind of content. And I find him to be interesting, and I find the stuff he talks about to be interesting. So like I'm super into it. But I never really am into live stream videos. But I'm like, all right, this dude doesn't put out that much edited content from week to week. So like, well, let's just see what it's like. And honestly, like it's pretty solid stuff. Like he generally has an idea what he wants to talk about, and he has a general idea how long he's going to go for. So it really does kind of feel slightly more structured than most live streams, and I guess they're just enjoyable, man. Like it's hard to really describe it. I would just recommend checking them out if you want to learn about Japanese culture, or just kind of want like a nice soft kind of thing to veg out to at night. I guess that would be the best way to describe it.
I do that with a Japan related channel too. Like there's a girl Emmy made in Japan or something like that. She's always does different. She does like different food recipes based on her culture, And it's she's very like educational, very relaxed. So it's kind of like just something you can kind of wind down to at the end of the day and watch. And if you want to try these things, you can. But it's just more or less relaxation watching,
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have that vibe and that energy, and yeah, so that's good stuff. The other two, like there was a third one that I can't seem to find again, so I guess we'll just fuck that one off. The other two are from one guy. It's the Punk Rock MBA. Again, shocking. He did two great ones while we've been on hiatus, called "What Killed Ska Punk" and "Most Hated Artists and Why." So,
interesting.
Yeah. He talked about Yellow Card, Ghost. I love both those dudes, and Tom McDonald. I don't even know who that is. And then with Ska Punk, he talked about Operation Ivy, Sublime, Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake, and of course Gwen Stefani's group, No Doubt. So that's one of those things that I think people would really enjoy, because that was a big musical time period for ska music. It was definitely a thing that existed at a time and a place that people weren't really expecting. Ska music was popular. Fucking go figure. I don't remember what the third thing was. So yeah, that's what I've been watching.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep looking just to see if there's anything else.
Okay.
What about you? Is there anything else that's been going on in your world?
I did do something recently. I don't know how people listening might feel about this, but I traded in a game that I traded in the game of the year basically at a GameStop. I got some money for it.
What'd you trade
traded in Last of Us Part 2. I just at launch I played it, and I've played it like twice for maybe like 10 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something about it that I was not vibing. I wasn't feeling it. Like The gameplay is solid as ever. It's just as solid as the first game. It's great. But I think it's the story and the laziness in the writing that just is off-putting to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's that initial part in the beginning that the way they handled a certain situation that just pissed me off, and I never came back from it. You know, when they kill off Joel, I hated that. You know, I think he went out like a pussy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's almost like, I don't know, killing off the character that people bonded with and got to know for no reason other than to, give trauma to a character. Well, maybe not the best of ideas. Just putting it out there, just letting that vibe with the ether.
I got $30 for it.
Well, that's still not really a lot of money for having to go through that experience. So,
no, not really. But I had to get it out. Like, it wasn't anything special. Like I said though, my gaming experiences have changed lately. Like, I play way more retro now, and the only system I've been playing as of late are just like all Nintendo related stuff. You know.
Mm-hmm.
The last system I played was the DS, and I played a game. If you ever do play anything handheld, I would recommend it. It's Retro Game Challenge. It's this idea of putting your character into a game it's like based off of a game show, and you play nothing but retro video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain ways you have to beat these games, and the only way you can do it is by actually looking in instruction manuals and old game magazines that they give you as unlockables and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm down with this game. This is a game that I never thought could even like exist, and it side. But the games in it are great, and I love the cheesy, corny vibe it has. So if anybody can ever find it on the cheap, please play it. Especially if you got nostalgia for like top-down shooters and old racing games and just old arcade games in general. It's definitely worth checking out for sure.
All right. Anything else?
No, not really. No, nothing I can think of off the top of my head. No.
All right, fair enough. That's all I got for you. So let's call it. Oh, lost Matt. Matt, you back?
Uh-oh.
Don't do that.
Did
again.
I die?
Don't do that again.
Did I die?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up then. RealNerdCorp.com. RealNerdCorp.com. You can find us on Twitter at NerdCorp, on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. YouTube.com, search Real NerdCorp. On Twitch at twitch.tv/RealNerdCorp. Matt, what are your personals?
You can find me on Twitch at mnerdcorp, same handle on Twitter.
You can find me on mine at Chad NerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp on Twitter. And Shad's Photo Hut at ChadPhotohut. Wait, that's ChadSPHO.
Go get some sleep, man.
ADSPHOTOHUT. Chad's Photo Hut. You can also find us on the website once again at realnerdcorp.com. That's RealNerdCorp.com. So for Matt Hadrick, I'm Chad Bordo. This has been the Real NerdCorp Podcast, brought to you by NerdCorp and all things NerdCorp. Matt, say goodnight.
Good night, everybody.